Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Sevilla have slapped a 68 million price tag on Jules Kounde. Fabrizio Romano says Sevilla's £68 million asking price is complicating a deal, but he said Jules Kounde is the most appreciated player on United's radar. Now, it said a couple of weeks ago that we'd been handed a boost in our bid to sign Jules Kounde, because it said Sevilla had reduced their asking price to £50 million. His buyout clause is 68 million, and it says we was not willing to meet his buyout clause earlier on this season. Now, I'd certainly take Jules Kounde at Manchester United. He's a very, very good centre-half. I think he'd go very well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. His performances for Sevilla have been outstanding. He's been at Sevilla almost 2 years. He's got a contract with them until 2024. Sevilla paid £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019. He is only the age of 22. There was narratives coming out earlier on this season saying that we was prepared to pay around 61 million, and La Razón, which I think is a Spanish outlet, said we were considered the favourites to sign him. Now, apparently, we're looking at 7 botmen from Lille. Now, I want to delve into some news on Harry Kane. So, Daniel Levy has made a transfer decision on Harry Kane. He says Tottenham will not sell Harry Kane to another Premier League club. Now, Harry Kane recently dealt Tottenham a major blow, because he's refused to commit his future to the club. He's delaying his transfer decision until after the Euros. Harry Kane is valued at around £150 million, which is a substantial amount. It's us and City that want him, because we're both in search for number 9s. Harry Kane is regarded as one of the best strikers in the world because he is a prolific goal scorer. His link-up play is good. You know, he's won the Golden Boot a couple of times. Harry Kane has been at Tottenham for 17 years. He's been in their senior squad since 2009. He's made around 234 appearances in the Premier League, and he's scored 160 goals. He's under contract with Tottenham until 2024. He has had quite a few loan spells with Leyton Orient, Millwall, Norwich and Leicester. He's 27 years of age, so he is highly experienced. David Ornstein was talking about him not so long ago. He said he spoke to people. He said that Harry Kane does want to leave. He said whilst he's at Tottenham, he's committed, but he wants to win the biggest trophies, and he's not experiencing this at Tottenham. But I'd certainly take him at Manchester United, because Harry Kane would dramatically improve us, and he would assure us goals. But yeah, there has been a lot of players on our agenda. There's been a lot of narratives coming out about Erling Haaland. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has revealed that Erling Haaland struggled with bad knees at Molde. Solskjaer also revealed that he was impressed with Erling Haaland's training when he was at Molde. He recently said that Solskjaer keeps calling Erling Haaland to persuade him to join Manchester United. Earlier on this season, Ole said he was following Erling Haaland's progress and is keeping in touch with Erling Haaland. Back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Erling Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. But it would be good to see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer reunite with the player. Now, there's been narratives coming out today saying that Erling Haaland is demanding £600,000 a week if he's to join Man United, Man City or Chelsea. Dortmund have already revealed their asking price. It's 154 million. Borussia Dortmund are going to find it extremely difficult to offload Haaland if they are demanding that much. There's a good chance he'll leave Dortmund in the summer transfer window, especially if Dortmund fail to qualify for the Champions League. Erling Haaland's father, Alf-Inge Haaland, has been talking about his son's career and his prospects. He's spoken about his son's transfer links to Man United before. Erling Haaland does have a £68 million release clause, but it doesn't become active until next year. Haaland has been at Dortmund over the year. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him, and he's got a contract with Dortmund until 2024. Now, Mini Oriola, his agent, he's come out and recently said that he may have made a mistake sending Haaland to Dortmund. Maybe it was just too careful. Mini Oriola said earlier on this season that there's around 5 or 6 clubs in England that can afford him. Now, Jadon Sancho, I've been giving you the news on him recently. Man United are still interested in him. He's been on our agenda now for a good 18 months at least, is it? We believe we've got a chance of getting him for around £50 million in the summer transfer window. That's a cut price fee. Jadon Sancho has visited our Carrington training ground quite a few times. Last summer, he was our number one priority target, but the main explanation we didn't get him is because Dortmund were demanding £108 million and we was reluctant to meet that, was only willing to pay so much up front. But he said earlier on this season from Bild that Dortmund had reduced their asking price for Sancho to £88 million, so they knocked like £20 million off. Borussia Dortmund's CEO said earlier on this season that Sancho, Haaland and more Dortmund stars could be sold to avoid financial chaos, so he'd been given a boost. But last summer, he said a few times that the personal terms had been agreed, the agent fees had been agreed, and even a contract had been agreed. So the actual fee was a stumbling block. Fabrizio Romano, he's spoken a lot about the Jadon Sancho transfer saga, and so too has Bild's Christian Falk. We had until the 10th of August last summer to sign Sancho, but we missed out on that deadline, so Sancho remained at Dortmund. You already know the news on Marcos Llorente from Atletico Madrid. It recently said that Atletico Madrid have set their price for Man United to sign Marcos Llorente. We have to pay his entire £103 million release clause. There was reports coming out from Spain on Friday saying that we made an offer of £68.5 million for Marcos Llorente, and it says was prepared to double his £90,000 a week wages. But he said a move was unlikely. Atletico Madrid paid 35 million for Marcos Llorente from Real Madrid. He's got a contract with Atletico Madrid until 2024. They got him in 2019. He did enjoy 11 years though at Real Madrid before he was at Atletico, so he was a long-serving player at Real Madrid. He also had a loan spell with Alaves. And Pau Torres from Villarreal, there's been a lot of narratives coming out about him. The last time I read it, reports were saying from Spain that he's heading to Old Trafford, and the Real Madrid president Florentino Perez was infuriated with Man United for entering the race because Real Madrid were emerged as the favourites. Pau Torres has around a £52 million release clause, but we believe we can get him for less than that. And Rafael Varane, there's been a lot of narratives coming out regarding him, and I'd certainly take him at Manchester United because he's a world-class centre-half. I've already identified the weaknesses in the squad. I think Man United need a striker, someone who can assure us goals. We need a right winger. We need a defensive midfielder, and we also need a centre-half. So I think they're the 4 areas where we've got to strengthen up. But I'm expecting Man United to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer transfer window. Ollie did warn earlier on this season that we may not do business as usual due to the pandemic, but he said he's interested in bringing in players that will be a perfect fit for the club. I reckon Solskjaer needs at least £200 million in the summer transfer window if he's to get the players he wants to recommend in. Now, it said our transfer budget had been revealed earlier on this season. Apparently, he said it was £80 million, and quite a lot of our fans were shocked in that aspect because we know £80 million is nowhere near enough for us to get the players we want in. But I think Solskjaer should get the backing he deserves in the summer transfer window because obviously we've got John Murtough, who's our director of football. And it was the right decision by Man United to get a director of football in. Because I did mention that's one of the structural changes that we needed at the club. And plus John Murtough knows the club well because he's been at Man United since 2014. And obviously Darren Fletcher, he's our technical director. You know, he endured 2 decades as a player for Man United. And plus obviously Woodward, he believes that Solskjaer is the right man to lead the club forward. He released a statement earlier on this season saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing him. And in general, Woodward has come out several times to show his support for Ollie, even when we was enjoying them very bad periods. But this year's summer transfer window is the biggest in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career. I can assure that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be Man United manager in the summer transfer window. He'll be Man United manager next season, and I did mention he does deserve at least another season at the club because progress has been made in some aspects. We will not be sacking Solskjaer, even if we fail to win the Europa League this season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has agreed to sign a new 3-year contract worth £30 million. It's likely to be 2 years with an option of an extra one. Sources at Old Trafford did say a few weeks ago that talks were set to begin any day on the new deal because Ollie is now into the final year of his current 3-year contract. I think a lot of United fans disagree with us giving him a new contract. Does he deserve a new contract? In some aspects, yeah. In some aspects, no. I just think Solskjaer's got to win a trophy at Manchester United because he's not yet won a trophy, and we haven't won a trophy since 2017. So if we don't win the Europa League this season, that'll be 4 years without a trophy, and that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. But the Europa League is our only chance of any silverware this season. Solskjaer did say not so long ago that winning trophies can be an ego thing, and he said that in regards to some other clubs and some other managers, and he says clubs like Man United, trophies no longer prove success. But in that aspect, I've got to disagree with him. I'm kind of sure Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't the long-term manager for Manchester United. But even if we was thinking about sacking him now, we wouldn't be able to anyway, because as far as I'm aware at the moment, there's no one available. And to be honest with, we did eventually decide to sack him, it wouldn't really solve anything, because when we have been inconsistent, not all of the blame has stemmed from him. This is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's second full season. I kind of sure we'll be in the Champions League for next season, because we're going to finish in the top 4 this season. I assured that after our 1-0 win against West Ham earlier on this season. It'd be good to finish second place, but I don't think it would be good enough without the Europa League. With the Europa League, I think that'll represent a good season for Man United, and that'll give us something to build on going on into next season. You know, Solskjaer's been Manchester United manager now over 2 years, so reflecting now on he's been at the club, he has gained some managerial experience in that. Man United is the third club in his managerial career. Before he was with us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. And before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff, and his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. He enjoyed a short tenure with Cardiff. The main explanation, he got sacked from Cardiff because he got them relegated. And he managed the Man United reserve team for a couple of years, so he watched some of this team grow and develop. The main explanation Solskjaer is still Manchester United manager is because he's a club legend. That's the only reason. Because Solskjaer enjoyed 11 years as a player for Man United. Disregarding him being a club legend, I can almost assure he wouldn't have been here now. You know, my 2 biggest concerns about Ole is his decision making, and he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager. But we've got to credit him in quite a few aspects. You know, he's made good signings as Man United manager. You know, he's spent almost £300 million. So far, he's enjoyed 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. He's got rid of a lot of players since he's come in. He did well last season in his first full season, got us to 3 semi-finals, got us qualification for the Champions League, and got us a 3rd place finish. You know, this season got us to the EFL Cup semi-final, the FA Cup quarter-final, and, you know, he's got us to the Europa League quarter-final. You know, we haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. We've enjoyed good periods under Ollie where we've seen consistency. We're second in the league. At one point, he got us top of the Premier League for the first time in 7.5, 8 years. And I like the way he has promoted the youth. And he's beaten some big name managers. So they are the positives. You know, we are going to sell quite a few players in the summer transfer window. Earlier on today, I give you the news on Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba has rejected a new contract. Paul Pogba still wants to quit Manchester United. Now, Damasio has come out and said that Paul Pogba has no intentions of extending his Man United contract. And he said his preferred destination is Juventus. I said there's a good chance he'll go back to Juventus because Paul Pogba did enjoy 4 very good years with Juventus before he rejoined Manchester United. Now, Juventus want a Paul Pogba swap deal because they've recently offered us Paulo Dybala as part of a swap deal for Pogba. He also mentioned that Juventus are willing to offload Ramsey and Rabiot to afford Paul Pogba. Fabrizio Romano has mentioned that Juventus are refusing to give up on re-signing Paul Pogba. He hadn't only been linked with a return to Juventus, Real Madrid have been relentlessly linked with him, and PSG have been in for him, so he has had a long-running transfer saga. So it looks like Paul Pogba's leaving as early as the summer. His agent, Mino Raiola, you know, he's been desperate to get his client out of the club. Mino Raiola recently criticised Sir Alex Ferguson for forcing Paul Pogba out of the club when he was younger. I totally disagree with him for criticising Ferguson. Mini Oriola, though, doesn't have a good relationship with Man United, and he has been criticised a lot. He did say, though, earlier on this season that he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season at Man United, and he made an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. And he made the announcement back in December regarding Pogba, and Solskjaer was furious with Mini Oriola's announcement because it was just before the game against Leipzig in the Champions League. Ollie said a few weeks ago that he's hopeful that Paul Pogba will stay and sign a new contract, and we have been in contract negotiations with him. Solskjaer did suggest earlier on this season he could sign a new contract. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. In recent months, we've been getting the best out of Paul Pogba. Obviously came on against Milan and delivered the goods, scored the goal and made an instant impact. Paul Pogba brings creativity to the team, and I think he's more effective in, more of an advanced role on that left wing. But Paul Pogba was out for a while with a thigh injury. He had an ankle injury earlier on this season. He was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. And this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. Now, Matthias Pogba, Paul Pogba's brother, gave us an update on Paul Pogba's future earlier on this season, and he actually advised us to sell Paul Pogba because he said it's likely he'll leave for nothing next year and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. So there you go. Looks like Paul Pogba's going. We need to get a good, adequate replacement for him. Who should replace Paul Pogba at the club? Nemanja Matic, there's a good chance we're going to sell him in the summer transfer window because he's not one of our first choice midfielders. I've always had my strong reservations about Matic because he's always been a static player. And most of his games at Man United he's been way too inconsistent. But there's been some games where he's been consistent. I think the club made a mistake giving him that new 3-year contract. Matic has been at the club almost 4 years now. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Donny van de Beek, good chance he's going to leave as well. There's talks of a Adrian Rabiot and Donny van de Beek swap deal. I think I've just read up about it. I think the reason Donny van de Beek needs to leave Man United is because he's not getting enough opportunities. Most of Donny van de Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. Mark Hughes was talking about him not so long ago, saying that he's edging closer to a Man United exit and he feels lost. But he said he actually feels loved at Man United recently despite his lack of game time. Prior to that, he said that Van de Beek wants to quit Man United after just 1 season due to his lack of game time, and he wants to hold showdown talks with Ed Woodward over his future. We don't use Donny van de Beek enough, and he is a good player. We got him in a deal worth £40 million, and he can play in 3 different roles, so he's versatile. Juan Mata, there's a good chance we're going to offload him because he doesn't even get in our 11. And my element of concern about Juan Mata, he's lost that yard of pace, and plus he's in his 30s. Earlier on this season, he rejected an £18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Juan Mata's been at the club 7 years now, almost 7 years. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea. We brought him in under the David Moyes era. But Ollie said earlier on this season he wasn't surprised that Juan Mata was linked with a move away from the club. Edinson Cavani, there's a good chance he's going to leave. Recently, Man United held showdown talks with Edison Cavani over his future at the club. We're trying to convince him to stay for next season. Edison Cavani has 3 months left on his current contract. We do have an option to trigger his contract for the further year. Footballer Insider said a few weeks ago that Cavani had reached a verbal agreement to join Boca Juniors at the end of the season. If we let him go in the summer, then we won't receive a transfer fee. Solskjaer did say earlier on this season that Cavani was closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Manchester United, and his father came out a few weeks ago and said that Cavani's unhappy, he's not comfortable in England and he wants to leave. Cavani sustained a few injuries at Man United, but I think he's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. We got him on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with an option of a second year. A lot of United fans are saying that we need to sell Anthony Martial because Anthony Martial has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. I think we need to get rid of Phil Jones, get rid of Romero. I think we'll be looking to get rid of Diego Dalot permanently. But yeah, we sell players in the summer transfer window. We're going to generate money and it's going to help us with our rebuilding process. Obviously, there's a lot of players that are going to stay in the summer transfer window. Dean Henderson will stay. You know, I've been very, very impressed with Dean Henderson in the games he's played in this season. He's started 6 games in a row for Man United. I think he's now reliable enough to become our number 1. You know, he's young, he's got a lot of development in him. But Dean Henderson, he's kept a lot of clean sheets, he's made good saves, he's made good aerial claims, and his distribution's been good. And he's got experience behind him because he enjoyed 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. Luke Shaw will obviously stay. I think he's here long term, Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's been absolutely superb this season. And he's had a good career at Man United apart from his injuries. Harry Maguire, he'll obviously stay as well. He's done well in some games this season, some games he's been poor, but either way, he wasn't worth the £80 million we got him for. He's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment, the second most expensive signing at the club behind Pogba. I think Lindelof will probably stay in the summer transfer window, but I don't think he's got a long-term future at Man United because I've got my strong reservations about Lindelof. I think Baye will probably stay. I want him to stay potentially past the summer because Baye's a good centre-half. My only element of concern about Baye is too injury-prone. As far as I'm aware at the moment, contract talks for Eric Baye are on hold because he wants assurances over his playing time because he actually has lost his place in the team. And Wan-Bissaka, he'll also stay. And Wan-Bissaka's had some good games this season, but he's also enjoyed some poor games. But I think he's got a long future at Man United. McTominay, he'll stay in the summer transfer window because McTominay's a decent player. Still young, got a lot of development in him, but he's not yet reached that level. Plenty of time for him. Bruno Fernandes, he'll obviously stay as well. Bruno Fernandes is our best player and is the best signing we've made since Ferguson. You know, Fernandes has made the difference in the team. Marcus Rashford will obviously stay as well. Mason Greenwood will stay. I've been very impressed with Mason Greenwood since he broke into our first team squad. So, there you go. And Amad Diallo Traore, he'll stay. I said Amad Diallo Traore looks a good asset for the first team squad, didn't I? And scored his first goal for Man United in the first leg against AC Milan. It was a very, very good header. But like I said, in the last 8 years, it's been an ongoing cycle of inconsistency at Man United. Despite us obviously sacking 3 managers, still nothing's changed. You know, we've overpaid for players. We've spent over £1 billion in the last 8 years as well. I think mistakes have been made as well in the last 8 years, and that's why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. We just haven't been the same team since Ferguson retired, and no one is ever going to replicate what Ferguson did. And no one's going to last as long as Ferguson did, because Ferguson enjoyed a 26, 27 year tenure at Man United. He won 30 odd trophies, including 13 Premier League titles, so he brought success to the club. So yeah, the manager who sat since Ferguson was Moyes. After 10 months, we sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after two and a half years, despite him winning 3 trophies. And I think he got second in his first season, so Mourinho enjoyed one good season at Man United. I do believe the board's been one of the biggest issues at the club for several years. I've already given you the main explanations why. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.